The thing that has been the largest blessing for me to recognize is the Quakerism that I'm doing in my monthly meeting. It's good, it's mine, but it's not everything that Quakerism offers. My name is Benign Sanchez-Eppler and I live in Amherst, Massachusetts, member of Northampton Friends Meeting. And I've been working for the Friends World Committee for about 2 decades now. Lately, they have called me to serve as their clerk. You start reading Early Friends, and you can see how my monthly meeting is an heir of what the Early Friends started. But you can also see that the Early Friends would have been foreign and uncomfortable in our monthly meeting, and that people from my monthly meeting would have been foreign and uncomfortable in the gatherings of Early Friends. That's true for everybody. That's true for the evangelical friends. It's true for most of the in Friends United meeting. It's true even for the conservative friends who look more like the Early Friends. And so when I go out of my monthly meeting and I worship in another church, in another friend's church, when I visit them, what I get, in fact, are those parts of Quakerism that, if you look at the Early Friends, were definitely parts of Quakerism that I'm not so much doing anymore. We have, inside of the Quaker spectrum, all of the tendencies and all of the articulations of belief, all of the affect and animosities that are fueling the culture wars everywhere. I feel that whenever I meet in worship with someone who's so different from me, that I could very easily find him or her on the trench in front of me in the culture war, and yet we don't engage in the violence of denying each other, of demonizing each other. When we engage in worship and in shared work, and we don't let ourselves become tools of the separating spirit, that if Quakerism does that right, again, we will have provided an example of peacemaking. The miracle happens when we're not like-minded, when we have substantial differences, when we have animosities even, when we have real intent that this is what needs to happen. The Spirit comes, is felt, and love is felt. And then a desire comes over us of surrendering those things that are more ours than the Spirit's. I have felt unity arrive at the monthly meeting like a balm. It's like a soaking. Particularly in those moments when we have been struggling with each other. When you hold all the differences, you don't hide them. You know that they're there. There's something about the possibility that the differences are acknowledged, and that then, because we are living with the love of God in us and with the love of God spilling out from us, that we can do what needs to be done to arrive at unity.